Hello there, everybody. This is Blue Nacho here with my first ever LP. It is of a 2002 platformer game by Namco called Pac-Man World 2. I'm sure at least a few of you have heard of it. And I have to admit it's a pretty decent game. I played it quite a bit during my childhood. And without any further ado, I suppose we might as well just cut to the intro and see what this game's all about.
You there, take these golden fruit that imprisoned me and follow me if you want to get rid of these Pac-Man forever!
Okay, so now we have a bit of background what this whole story's about. I mean, we sort of know that it's about, you know, collecting golden fruit to free some evil monster from his prison inside of a tree, I guess. But unfortunately, I'm sure you'll get more explained in the next cutscene. Yeah, you heard me right. You're gonna have to sit through another one of those long guys. Sorry about that. Goodbye, test file, and here we go.
Pac-Man! Pac-Man! Terrible, terrible news! Pac-Land is in serious danger. The ghosts have unwittingly unleashed an ancient evil upon us by removing the golden fruit from the tree. According to this book, our ancestors fought against this very evil. In ancient times, the great wizard Pac created a powerful potion that turned 5 fruit from Pac-Land into the golden fruit that was stolen today. Armed with these magical fruit and a great deal of bravery, Sir Pac-a-Lot faced the all-powerful ghost known as Spooky. Sir Pac-a-Lot defeated Spooky and imprisoned him. And he has remained there until now. Pac-Man, the golden fruit are in the hands of the devious ghosts, and Spooky is on the loose again. You must retrieve the golden fruit and defeat Spooky, or all of Pac Pac-Land will be doomed.
Yeah, spooky. Most unique video game bad guy name ever, eh? Yeah, and another thing I forgot to mention about the first cutscene is that I'm sure, as you all remember, the ghosts were just sort of tossing all those fruits around, but I mean, gold's a pretty heavy substance. It sort of surprised me that those ghosts with their little old hands were able to carry it all, you know? So this level, it can take as long or as quick as you want it to, but for me personally, I'm going to finish everything pretty quick, but let me just show you around. We can talk to Professor Pac, who we just finished talking to. I'm not going to talk to you again. You're too old to ruin my LPs. There's the arcade, which is run by Sue. And there's quite a few games around here. We have, and I'll show them to you instead of that cutscene. Miss Pac-Man. I was playing it the other day at GameWorks. Pac-Man World 2, which has the mazes from in the game. Pac-Attack, Pac-Mania, and of course, the original Pac-Man. Wouldn't be complete without that. I don't know what I'm doing up here. But let's get on with the game. Okay, we're back out here again. Let's get the start. Okay, so over here there's the museum, but it was vandalized by the ghosts. You need 150 tokens to repair it. Unfortunately, I don't know if we'll get that many tokens in the LP. We probably will not. And as you can probably tell, there's a lot of extra little goodies to get, like even on the rooftops, I think. Yeah, there's quite a bit of goodies to get around here, but considering I want to just cut to the chase, get into the action, and not spend the first, like, 10-15 minutes of my LP just messing around trying to collect fruit, I'm going to cut to the chase and finally start the first level. Or, first real level. That was the first level. Let's do the bare basics. Okay, so the bare basics, it's probably one of the easiest levels in the game other than Pac Village, but nevertheless, it is a great introduction to the basics of the game. That's why it's called the bare basics. So here's a maze, sort of like the type of mazes you'd find in the original Pac-Man game. I think the mazes in Pac-Man World 1 were a lot more like the original mazes, but I haven't played World 1 in quite some time, because this was actually my favorite game in the series. I've played World 1 and World 3. I actually own all three in the series, but none of them quite hooked me as much as this one. So what I decided that I'd talk about in my first LP episode is why exactly am I here? It's an interesting question. I mean, there's tons of reasons I could be here. I could be trying to make a quick buck off YouTube, I could be some random guy who needs attention, or I could just be a really bored kid in his basement with nothing better to do. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm none of those people. I've just seen a lot of LPs in my life, and I thought it would be fun to do something like they do. Just to sort of... I can't get OOB, it looks like. Never done this glitch before, but don't think I'm supposed to be up here, so I'll go on with the level. Okay, so there's plenty of reasons that people do LPs, but, you know, I've seen quite a few LPs in my past. I'm actually subscribed to many LPs, and I'll discuss who I'm fans of later on. I don't want to get busy talking about too much. But I've always thought it would be fun just to sort of, you know, create videos of me playing through games, because I'm a pretty funny guy. Maybe it'd be nice some people would have an interest in watching me play games. You know, I thought I'd try it out, but that's the short version of the story, explained in about a minute. But I could go back very far and just describe all the reasons which led to me eventually determining that I'll make an LP, and that's what I think I'll do in this episode. So a good place to start is, where did you first find out of LPs, Blue Nacho? Well, Back in 2009, 2010, I was looking for a video of Luigi's Mansion, and surely enough, the first thing that came up was a Let's Play. I thought, this video's a bit funny, might as well watch it for a few minutes. I never really got too into the LP, I just watched like one episode towards the end. But nevertheless, I did remember that video for some reason, even though at the time I thought, I don't even know what the whole Let's Play concept is or why anyone would watch some guy just randomly playing through a game that they can play themselves. I mean, it was even a half-decent LP. The commentary was okay, but I don't know where that... I can't remember who made it or even if it had that many views, but then, you might be wondering, well, how do you get into video games in the first place? Well, I'm gonna leave that for another episode because I don't want to just go off on tangents. But heading forward a few years later, we reached the first LPer I ever watched actively. He was a man, he still only has about 2,000 subscribers for reasons that I'll describe later. But his name was Grim Skellington. I heard of a great Minecraft map by the name of Drift, and surely enough, he happened to have a Let's Play of the Drift series. Soon, he became my favorite LPer, and I think I watched all, like, 20 episodes at the time in one day. He was a pretty cool guy, and even after Drift finished, I continued watching all his episodes. However, like all good things, he couldn't last. He didn't last forever, and unfortunately, I'd like to say summertime, around the summer of 2010, he left YouTube due to various reasons, and I'm not going to tell his personal stories. You can find them out if you go on his YouTube channel. And, you know, I'm giving a shout out to him, and I encourage you all to watch... that was a bad idea. And I encourage you all to go watch his video series. He's a great guy. And then from there, I found out about many more Let's Players. One of which is the first major LPer who I still watch to this day that I watch. His name is Kurt J. Mack. He's a pretty big LPer. He has a couple 100,000 subs. I'm sure probably quite a few of you have heard of him. It's 91% as opposed to the like 10-15% I got on the last level. Not bad at all. Okay, so Kurt J. Mack. So one day I was on Facebook looking in the group for the server I administrated back in the day. It was a Minecraft server. And I could tell lots of stories from my Minecraft days about the craziness of being an admin on a small private server. But basically, he posted a picture of the Farlands. And then my brother commented, oh wow, the Farlands article on the wiki has some pretty cool pictures of the Nether Farlands. So naturally, being the curious kid I was at the time, and this was back probably sometime in March of this was probably late 2010, early 2011, if you were... Sometime in 2011, actually, I think. So naturally, this Kurt J. Mack person was a pretty cool guy, and surely enough, I watched some... Wait. Never mind. I got distracted a bit. So I found this Kurt J. Mack guy, and I loved him. I got to him from the Farlands Wikipedia... Minecraft wiki article, and when I went upstairs to tell my brother about Kurt J. Mack, surely enough, he was watching Farlands or Bust as well. Farlands or Bust, for those of you who don't know, is Kurt J. Mack's main YouTube series in which he attempts to get to the Farlands without the use of any mods or cheats. It's a very ambitious adventure considering that it takes 820 hours, which for those of you who don't know, that's quite a bit of time. I personally could not dedicate 820 hours to a single video game. Although I'm sure there's some people addicted to games like World of Warcraft who definitely have dedicated more than that to a single game. But personally, hate when that happens. But personally, in my opinion, dedicating so many hours to a single video game, you know, it just isn't my thing really. I prefer to play a bunch of different games of wide variety, and truly I'm amazed at the progress he made. He recently reached, I'd like to say, Y equals 200,000 something. I don't know, I think it was 292,202. Yeah, 292,202 out of 8.4 million blocks. I don't know if it was 8.4 million. Somewhere in the 8 millions, I know. So he was quite a few. So he's actually doing a pretty decent job at approaching the far lands. And what's amazing is that since no one has ever done an attempt nearly as close to the far lands as we know of with Kurt J. Mac, it's truly been an amazing adventure, not only just to watch his amazing commentary, but also for research of what happens when you get too close to the far lands. And not much of this is too relevant to current Minecraft ever since the Farlands were released in the 1.8 Adventure update. But nevertheless, it still remains a favorite series of mine which I like to watch in what little free time I have. From Kurt J. Mac, though, my brother and I were led into the Minecraft users. For those of you who don't know, Minecraft is a major private server in which a lot of huge Minecraft LPers like... I'm trying to think of names you might know. Who Boulderfist is the admin. I watch, B00 and Good, they're on the server. I'm gonna talk about it more later, so I might as well mention them. I mean, not B00 and Good, B00 and Generic B, the B team. There's, Ethos Lab, he's a pretty big YouTuber, and I'm trying to think of other names. I could go on and on listing all the Minecraft users, but I'm just gonna list those few. And back on the topic of B00 and Generic B, they ran an event the other day called the B Team Chicago Meetup, and naturally, living in Chicago, I decided that I just had to go there. So naturally, I went to the B Team Chicago Meetup and met I met Generic B and B00, and they were definitely great people to talk to, because I'm sure, as we all know, sometimes you meet famous people in real life, and they just turn out to be complete jerks. I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about, even if you haven't met any famous people personally. But I ran into B00 and I asked him, and you know, I just sort of talked to him about running an LP, and they sort of told me, you know what, they gave me a few tips about running an LP, like don't do it for the money, don't do it to be famous, etc, etc. But I eventually decided, you know what, with the blessing of B00 himself and Generic B, I talked about it a bit, but he was also pretty busy, I might as well just start up my LP. So I got my equipment together, I finally got my setup working just the way I want it, and next thing I knew, I was sitting right here in this chair, making my Let's Play. So I hope I did a pretty comprehensive review of how I got here, why I'm sitting here talking to an invisible audience right now. And I'd like to remind you all to rate, comment, and subscribe and all that stuff. If you have any advice, questions, comments, concerns, conundrums, tips, etc, etc, you can send them either in a PM or a comment. I love to read correspondence, and probably I won't get enough. I'll probably be able to respond to all my messages for quite some time, unless I become mega popular, which I don't see happening anytime soon. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and you have a nice day.